The 2 years of playing football at a small university, I had to look at myself in the mirror. Many of you are going to have this decision. I had to look at myself in the mirror and ask myself, was I good enough to go to the next level? And at the age of 23 and a half, I had to look in the mirror and I had to realize I wasn't. So at the age of 23, I put down the football and I picked up the books because I realized I just didn't want to be a player on the field of athletics. I want to be a player in life. The only reason I'm in this room today is not what I did on some football field, it's what I did in life. I'm a player now. I'm a player now. When these legs failed me on that football field, this heart ain't never felt me, dog. This mindset kicked in like never before. I had something to prove to myself. When adversity hit me, it shaped my life. When I got accused of that crime at 17, things would happen around me, but the most important thing would happen in me. How did I handle that adversity? I decided to fight for my name. So now I'm at that crossroad, and that mama that put the football in my hand is still in prison. I told everybody knew I wasn't going to the NFL, knew I wasn't gonna be able to fulfill that dream of being a football player. Everybody knows except mama, right? I get that call. The phone rings on the other end, it's my mama, she's in prison. Now I'm a little nervous because I gotta tell her I'm not gonna be able to buy you that big house. We're not going to the NFL. And I said, but mama, I got some good news and I got some bad news. She says, all right, son, give it to me. I said, well, the good news is I'm gonna be the first person in our family to graduate college. She says, I'm excited. I'm happy. She said, what's the bad news, son? I said, well, I'm not going to the NFL. I'm not gonna be able to buy you a house. That's not so bad. She says, but guess what? I got some good news. Hush up, son. I said, yes, ma'am. She says, I just made parole and I'm gonna be at your graduation in May. Now I'm excited. Mama had accepted the new dream, the new why. I'm gonna be a college man. I'm gonna be a graduation. And she said, lastly, son, before I let you go, before I get out, the warden of the prison is gonna call you with instructions about my property and make sure I'm on schedule to get out when I say I do. I said, yes, ma'am. December 31st, I'm at home on East 11th Street in Odessa, Texas. The phone rings on the other end. It's a warden of a prison, a female warden. She says, Tiki Davis. I said, yes, ma'am. I've been expecting your call. She says, I just want to let you know that Karen has expired. I say, I know, warden, you ain't telling me nothing that I don't know. My mama told me you'll be calling. She said, son, you don't understand. What do you want to do about burial arrangements? So at the age of 24, the day that I'm supposed to be picking up my mama from prison, I was in Huntsville, Texas, having a funeral. But guys, that's when adversity hit my life. I still had to go complete the assignment. The assignment was I had to go bury my mama because I was her son. The next part of that assignment, I had to go back and be the first person in my family to graduate college. And that's what I did. And I graduate college. And this is when the adversity started hitting me even more. I go back to the courts because I'm on 10-year probation for a crime I didn't commit. But I went into the judge and I said, Judge, I just buried my mama. I got a college degree. Can you let me off probation early so I can go get me a job so I can take care of my future family, the family I don't have yet? And the judge says no. So now my back is against the wall. Adversity is hitting me. Man, I went to college. Imagine having a degree, doing all this work and can't get no job. So all my cousins back home are selling drugs and they say, man, I told you shouldn't have went to college. It ain't for you. You come here, get you some of this crack. Let's sell these drugs. Let's do this. And I was that close, but I was praying to God. I said, God, if you show me a better way, if you give me something to make me not do this, I won't do this. So they were out there filming this movie, Friday Night Lights. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. Came out when y'all were all little boys. And I was at the local barbershop and this guy from the Houston Chronicle was there looking for this guy named Booby Miles. I happened to be getting a haircut and I said, what you looking for Booby for? I was better than him. He laughed. He said, we ain't never heard of you. He said, if you're so good, Mr. Davis, they're looking for extras out at the football stadium. And if you're good enough, they may hire you as an extra. I said, I am. So I went out to the football stadium and they hired me as a graph player doing stunts and background in the movie Friday Night Lights. But I worked on that movie for 3 weeks, hoping for an opportunity to get something better. I was making $100 a day. And that was just enough gas money to make it back and forth to college. So I wasn't making nothing, but I was looking for the opportunity. And one day the director, Peter Berg, had an open audition, a room, great athletes like you, and I beat out everybody in the room to win the starring role in the movie Friday Night Lights as the quarterback. And I made enough money at that time at the age of 25 to get me through graduate school. So I go back to school. I don't quit because the mission was still a mission. The system forced me to work on my master's degree, and eventually I got my master's degree. Then I went back to Odessa, that same city known for football and oil, but now the dream has changed. I'm no longer chasing football glory. I got to go find me a job. And I started working at this small independent oil company. With 2 degrees, how much money you think you should get starting out at an oil company with 2 degrees from college? 200? Man, they started me at $13 an hour, my first job. $13 an hour, my first job in oil and gas. Because, why? My name was bad to them. So I had to work extra hard because now they give a second chance person a job. So I worked there for 3 years. Then finally, after 90 days, they give me $65,000, a company truck. I'm proving myself. Then I become the most requested engineer in the Permian Basin. Then they fired me. Then nobody want to hire me again. Now I'm back to washing cars again. I got a little money, so I start my own business. I'm an entrepreneur. But I wanted to be an engineer. Then this independent oil man named Clayton Williams, one of the best in the world, gives me an opportunity to start my own consulting company. And I go work from him. So in a 6-year period, I went from $13 an hour to $1 million a year as one of the best engineers in the world. And then when I made that money, I transitioned into, I went back to that neighborhood where I got stabbed in the neck and I bought it. And I started building affordable housing in that neighborhood. Then I went to all the failing restaurants in the community, barbecue restaurant, and I bought them too. Then I made $1 million selling ribs. Then I made $1 million in flipping houses like the TV show. Then I bought me some 18-wheelers and I started hauling sand, made $1 million hauling sand and water. Then I built me a man camp for oilfield housing. But something was still missing. Don't matter that I had millions in the bank. That didn't mean nothing to me. That thing that you had at birth, that good name that your mama and your daddy gave you and said, son, whatever you do is take care of your good name. Mine was still bad. So I challenged the state of Texas. I said, man, can we just stick to the original agreement and clear my name? From 17 to 40 years old, I had a bad name. And finally, at the age of 40, I got my name back. Then I started functioning at a higher level. For the first time in my life since I was a 17-year-old boy, I was able to function as a man. Then I said, man, my gift is to share it with you. I looked at the world of speaking, there was room for me. They needed real stories, something different. But now, my story's all good and everything. Hope it inspired you a little bit, but I hope you got your pen and your paper because I'm gonna show you how to do it in your life. Get your notepads, I got something for you. I go around the world and I travel and I speak. My stage name is the Tiki Factor. I broke my name down in acronyms. My name is spelled T-I-K-I, right? The T stands for total commitment. I had to make a total commitment to my life just to be in the game. I challenge you to make a total commitment to your life. I'm not talking about when everything is good. I'm talking about after the arrest. I'm talking about after you're on probation. I'm talking about after you've been to different schools. I'm talking about when things happen to you. Are you still willing to make that total commitment to your hopes and the dreams that got you in this room? The next thing is the I, imagination. I challenge you to live from your imagination, not your history. My history said I would die in prison like my mother. My history said I wouldn't be a first-generation millionaire. My history said that don't happen to people that look like me with my background. Will you be next? What's that dream that you dream about that only you and God knows about? What's that imagination scoring that game-winning touchdown? It might be imagination a little bit deeper, having that family, being that great dad, being that great provider. It got to be bigger than what you're doing here. It got to look at the big picture. What's that imagination look like for you? The next thing is K, kindred spirits. The people around you affect you. Depending on who they are and what they do is going to affect you in that type of way. So when you're in these rooms with these people, if you see your teammates doing something wrong, tap them on the shoulder because a rest here, that one player missing on the team can affect you from winning it all. So the people around you affect you. And the next I is invest in yourself. How much are you willing to invest in yourself? It's bigger than the football field, fellas. What are you doing in the classroom? What are you doing when you go back home on that break? Are you selling a little weed? You know, what are you investing in yourself? That's gonna cost you being in this room. You know? So what are you investing in? I'll run it back to you again. T, total commitment. I, imagination. K, kindred spirits, and invest in yourself. Those are the Tiki Factor principles of life, and if you'll find them to your life, you'll win. Now, I'm finna challenge y'all something. I got another question. How many of y'all believe or y'all heard throughout your life be the very best that you can be? Raise your hand. Well, I'm gonna challenge y'all to take it up a notch. I want you to be the only. I'm in this room because I'm the only guy in the world that did some of the things that I was able to do. And what's the difference between being the best and the only? Let me explain it to you. The reason the world stopped when Kobe Bryant died, not because he was the best, it's because he was the only. It's a different to the standard. What's your standard? Are you gonna be the best or are you gonna be the only? The best are remembered for a little bit, but the only is remembered for a lifetime. Legacy. Legacy. I thank you for your time, and my time is up. I'm the Tiki Factor. Thank you.